Welcome to another episode of the Roughly Related to Reselling podcast. My name is Perry Phillips. I go by Perry Flips with a Z on Instagram, Podhead Picker on X, Flips and Giggles on Facebook. Podcast is now available on YouTube, all episodes and all episodes going forward. So make sure you subscribe and like to make sure you catch every episode when it first comes out. And it helps me out a lot. So yeah, it's another week. There's an illness going around my family again. I mean, that's what happens when you've got small children. Summertime, it's usually it's usually better, so it's nice. But it's not really like my wife was sicker yesterday. Today she's feeling a little bit better. My kids were like kind of sick over the weekend or last week. I haven't gotten sick, so. See, I'm trying to avoid that. I've got my final exam for my intro to business class on Wednesday. So I just started studying for that a little while ago. It didn't go well. I didn't get very far. So it's like 6 chapters. But I mean, I think I should do okay because I've been paying attention. You know what I mean? I feel like I study, but like as long as I'm paying attention and like, doing the actual work, then it's a little bit easier and I know what the fuck I'm doing. I have that, and then I have a final project due on the 13th. So I've got like 2 more weeks, a little less than 2 weeks, like one more day of one thing, and it's like probably like an hour. So, and then the other shit is just however long it takes me to do those projects. It's like an Excel spreadsheet. Like it's all pretty standard shit. It's just I was focused on other shit, and now, I got to do shit when I have time. It's like when you got a family and you're doing 3 different things, it's like you got to kind of just do the thing when you can do the thing, which is why I'm podcasting today instead of studying for my test tomorrow. Because I'm like, well, what if I do get sick? And then I'm going to not be able to podcast for like another few more days. And I'm starting to get backed up. I actually have been like writing down a bunch of stuff. I say that now, and then I'm going to be like fucking stuttering at 45 minutes. But I am trying to get better at writing down more things. That's pretty much just keeps, the little notes just help fucking keep the show from going off the rails. So yeah, we just got those few projects, and then I'm on summer vacation, and I want to I need to like focus on the business a little bit more hardcore, because I'm not going to have like all the time I'm spending at school for the summer, and just, work on that. Just work on that and try to expand it a little by a little, I need more inventory like on a regular basis. This whole fucking trying to scrounge for inventory in the off season is not like a suitable plan. So I got to be better about that. I actually have to hit up a friend. He hit me up like a few weeks ago, and he has video games that he was going to sell me. I have to text him. Let me make a reminder, because of course I would think about this right now. So let me text him. So yeah, it's trying to find consistent inventory like regularly is obviously a challenge for everybody. But yeah, I feel like it's gotten like harder. Obviously there's more competition and whatever. But yeah, we just had the town-wide yard sale, and I think I talked about this before, where like the town-wide yard sale, I was all excited because I didn't recognize a lot of the addresses. And so like I went out early, and like there was a few houses where I knew the people having the sales just from going to yard sales. Like there's this older couple, Ted and Helen, I think is their names. But they're like, an older couple. I see them at fucking sales. And she actually, one time I was at a sale, and like it was like the first sale I went to, or it was like the second sale I went to, so I didn't have any change because I had spent my like little change I had at the sale before. And so this lady had an Olympus camera, and I knew it went for some money. So like, she wanted $1 for it, and she didn't have change. So she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you got to come back." Blah 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 blah. So I'm like, I was like, "You don't have like Cash App or anything like that?" Or she's like, "No, no." So I went to my car to try to see if I had change, and like at this point, this like I'm like, I'm not leaving without this camera. Like it's $1, and so I said this before. I think I said it because I was like, "Oh, would you give it to me?" I think that was an episode of the title. Um. So anyway, this was that lady. That lady that she ended up having $1. She was like, "Hey, I'll lend you $1." So then the next time I saw her, I was like, "Oh, I see her all the time." So I made sure that I had change every time. So the next time I saw her, I ran. I so the next time I ran into her, I gave her like $2 instead of the one. So I gave her interest. And so I was like, "Yeah," and she was like, "Yeah, I don't know why that lady she didn't have change." I'm like, "Yeah, I should have had change too. Like obviously it was partially on me, but it's your sale. Like you're gonna lose out on a dollar sale." Like, obviously it's not like she did lose out on the sale because the lady came to my aid. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I went over to I stopped at their house first. They had they always have a sale, and like I've bought stuff from them before. Occasionally they have good stuff. But this time they did not. So I just stopped by and said hi, and then went to a couple other sales, and I stopped at there was a few. Everything was kind of spread out, and like there was a few that were starting early. All the 8 o'clock sales were kind of a bust. What did I end up buying? I'd found a couple video games, nothing crazy. I went to one sale where they had it was like Shrek 2 for GameCube. Um, Not like nothing crazy. It's like a $17-18 game. But they had it for 50 cents. I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Oh, you have any other video game stuff?" And the lady, this was like a neighborhood sale. So the lady was like, "Oh," she's like, "I might have some at my house." So she went across the street and got some and then came back. And she asked the girl who had just sold me that video game, she asked her the price that she should sell them at. And she like goes through all the games. She's like, "Oh, do these ones at like $1." And then she was like, "And do this one for 10." And it was Mario Party 8. Oh, sorry. And so I'm like, "Fuck, dude, she just he just and like Mario Party 8's not like crazy expensive, maybe like $30." And so I was just like, so I said 5, which was more than I wanted to spend, but at this point I had been striking out so much that I was just like, whatever, like I'll just buy the shit. And so she just took the 5, but I'm like, I couldn't believe that chick, like she sold me a game for 50 cents, and then this lady came from across the street, and she's like fucking hiking up the price. I'm like, why the fuck? You didn't even charge a full dollar for yours. And I gave her $1 too, which was the fucked up part. I'd already gave her the full dollar. I wish I was like, after that I should be like, "Excuse me, I'm still waiting on my 50-cent change. You never gave me my fucking 2 quarters, please." Um so yeah, and like went to a couple different places. Ended up getting a couple things for my wife, like a succulent. These people had like these little fucking succulents that were cool. Um But yeah, there weren't a ton of people out. They didn't really advertise it very well. They didn't post it anywhere. They still didn't post it anywhere the day of the sale. It was only posted in the actual group. So if you were in the group, you knew about it. And it only went out to about 1,000 people. So, I mean, of those 1,000 people, you got to think like, I don't know, maybe, a small percentage of those people. I was trying my brain just froze trying to think of a percentage. Like, but yeah, no, like you got to think a small percentage of people aren't going to go. But if you're just posting it to that group with 1,000 people, you know, it's very easy to just post it to a couple other places. I don't complain because, it is what it is. But so anyway, yeah, it was a long day. So, so Helen, the lady that I was just talking about, she ended up telling me, she's like, "Oh, today is there's these apartments. It's like a higher end apartment complex, and occasionally I find some good shit there. Like occasionally I find some stuff. So I was striking out in my where I live in my town. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go out here for a little bit, see what happens. It was only 20 minutes away, so fucking boot scoot and boogied my way across town to the outskirts or whatever. And I went there. You got to get a map. So you fucking stop at the front, you get a map, and then like last year they had it so you could just scan the QR code. This year they're like, nah, here's a fucking map and the list, and you're on your way. And it wasn't even a good map. It was like all pixelated and shit. Like even changed the fucking settings on it. So drove around there for a bit and was just striking out. I don't think I bought anything there. I went to one guy who I bought a couple things from last year, but it was kind of overpriced, and he's a reseller too, but I don't think he's a very good one. And I'm just judging just by his personality. Um, and so he had all these cassettes, and there was like cool music and shit, but there was some that I'd have to like take out and sift through and whatever. And so I was like, "Oh, do you have a price in mind for all of them?" And he's like, well, I was doing like $5 a piece, which I should have known at that price, like, you know." And so he like went down to like I think $3 a piece or something. He wanted like $435, but like for the amount of stuff that he had and the stuff that I probably would have been usable in like a lot, I probably would have only gotten like $100. Like honestly, realistically. So he was way over. He was like going based off per thing, you know what I mean? But not every cassette is created equally. So $3 per, it's like, I'm willing to gamble for 20 to 30 bucks, but I'm not willing to gamble for $435. Like, and so I was like, oh no, I was like, I'll pass at that price. And like the wife was like, well, how much did you want to pay? I was like honestly, 20 or 30 bucks. Like that's not, I'm nowhere near where you are at. And I was like, that's fine. But I was like, so I'm just gonna have to pass. I'm always respectful, dude. It's your shit. You want to sell for whatever fucking price you want to. But like you might sell a handful of those. If you were the goal was to get rid of it, you're not going to do a great job. But if if you're trying to make a couple bucks, then you know more power to you. So I drove around there for a bit, and it was pointless because it's in like there's all these different neighborhoods. So luckily they had like the addresses of certain places. They had them all kind of grouped by neighborhood, so it was a little bit easy once I figured that out. But still, it was just like I went to a bunch of houses there. I probably went to like 50 to 60 houses between that one and then the town wide. There was like 30 on my list. I would say probably closer to 40 or 50. And yeah, just struck out house after house after house after house. So then I head back because I'm tired of just driving around. And it's like all neighborhoods, so you kind of have to drive slow because it's very populated. It's like it's a higher end apartment complex where like it's designed so you don't have to leave. There's like restaurants and shit and like playgrounds. It's a Saturday, so there's just all types of people walking around. So you have to drive crazy slow. So I went there, like probably stayed there for 20 to 30 minutes, but hit a bunch of houses, came back, and hit a few more houses, and then there was like a community one about 10 minutes from my house. So I was like, oh, I'll swing back to there, and went over to that one, got some shoes. Ended up being like Nike skateboarding shoes, which I didn't know Nike made skateboarding shoes. So they actually have a little bit of value. They've got a couple like scuff marks and shit, but like I don't know. We'll see what happens. And then what else? Oh yeah. So then finally, I go hit a couple fucking houses, and then finally I hit this house. It was like the last one I was gonna hit before heading home, And I got there and I walked up and they're like, they had a bunch of stuff, which was a good sign. And they had like stuff, she's pulling shit out of the trailer. And so I walk over and like, I immediately see a couple boxes of Yeezys, like the brown boxes. So I'm like, all right, even with the kissing cousin shit, like the suck my cousin's dick song, I'm like, these fucking shoes have to be worth something. You know what I mean? So I was trying to get a feel for like what the prices were going to be. And like I'm walking around and luckily I didn't ask any prices of anything else before those shoes because I probably would have just left and not even asked about the shoes. But, I'm talking to the guy and he's like, he had a New York accent and he's like a bigger guy. So he's like sweating and shit. And, he's just, just talking. And I was like, oh, how much do you want on the shoes over there? Like, cause I don't know if like what's his son's, what's like, you know what I mean? So I don't want to like throw out a brand name if, 'cause he's from New York. We're trying to do the dance, whatever. And so he goes, which ones? And I know he wanted me to say what they were. So I was like, Yeezys. I should have just been like, I couldn't remember what they were. And then, or I should have said some shit like, I didn't know if I should say Kanye West with all the controversy around him. But anyway, so then, so he's like, oh, I could do like 50 for both of them. So I was like, 50 each or just 50 for the two of them? He's like, 50 for just both of them. I was like, all right, I can do that. One was like almost brand new. Like it was that he had got them from StockX. So it still had like the authenticity tag with it. But what's it called? The shoelaces were like in a plastic bag, so like they hadn't even been laced up yet. It didn't look like they'd been worn at all, like maybe once or twice, and then shipped out. So there was those, and then he like went inside. He's like, I got more shoes inside. So he goes inside and he comes out. He's like, yeah. He's like, he puts some shoes out, and he's like, he's at this point somebody else shows up, and he had showed me he had a Nintendo Switch like after I had already talked to him about the Yeezys, which I'm glad because he was like, oh, 200 for the Switch, which wasn't a bad price, but for reselling, it was like not ideal. You know what I mean? There was a ton of games, but like the games weren't great. You know what I mean? He was like, oh, there's a bunch of games here. Again, it's just like the cassettes, It's like not every game is created equal. And just because you have a ton of games, it doesn't mean that this thing is like worth that much more. It's like Marvel, Legos, like shit like that. Like kids games. There was a couple like better games. Even there was a sealed game too, and even that one was like only like $25 sealed. You know what I mean? A few years down the road, maybe. But it had like some other accessories, which again, cheap ass accessories, like nothing that anybody's gonna pay more for. So I was gonna offer $100. Some other guy ended up showing up, and he started talking to the kid about it, and he offered 150, which was obviously more than I was gonna offer. And he turned down 150 and he said yes to 175. So they made a deal at 175, which was I think he said he was buying it for like his grandkid, which was like perfect price for, he got a awesome deal on it. But for me, like, no, it wasn't worth it. I probably would have made like 150 to 200, you know what I mean? If I'm spending 200, I'm making 200 and minus fees and shit, like it's not really worth it for my time. I'd rather spend that 200 on like more shit. Like if it's getting me a bunch of shit that I can sell, then perfect. So anyway, I keep looking around and I ask him about like he's had a Grateful Dead shirt on. So I'm like, oh, do you have any other like band T-shirts that you're selling? Like, anything like that. So he brings out a bunch. He's like, oh, I used to work at this I forget which place he said, but it's like a place. Maybe he said Madison Square Garden. He did. He said Madison Square Garden, and then he proceeds to bring out like these fucking Target shirts. Like it was like a WWE Target shirt, and like, you know what I mean. It was like there was like a 2019 Kiss concert T-shirt, but it was like not name brand at all. There was no fucking tag at all. Like it was just a iron-on tag or whatever, and nothing to like. Yeah, it was just like that. It was. So I just left that. I should have got it. Like in hindsight, there was his prices on those. He was like $3 a T-shirt. I probably could have gotten all of them for like $2 a piece. but I mean, there was only one. He showed me one. He's like, "Oh, this is Marvel and Kith," because I thought he was like saying Kiss, like being funny, because he was just saying. But then I looked and it was KITH, and I looked those up, and they go for big money. So I posted it last night for like 200. We'll see. Hopefully, get like at least 100 for it, and that pays for all the shoes, and then so I ended up finding some stuff at the very last sale. Like that was the craziest part. It was the very last sale. So I got that T-shirt, the two pairs of shoes for 53, and yeah, and that was it. And then I went home. So it was crazy because like drive around to I don't know how many different spots. It's like fuck, man, this is gonna be such a waste of gas. Like at this point, I'm spending more in gas, and then just go to that one sale. And it's crazy because he undervalued the Yeezys. I forgot about this part. So yeah, so then I go back. This is the most important part of the story. So then I go back, and he's like, he had taken out these shoes. So there was like some nice shoes. There was like Hoka and like some Nikes and shit, and like so he's like, yeah, he's like, you should take a look at those shoes. He's like, I'm telling you, he's like, you're getting a really good deal on this stuff. He's like, go take a look at it. Go over, and he's got like prices on everything. He's got like 150 for one pair, like 70 for another, like 50 for another. And so I was like, well, I'll at least look it up. You know what I mean? If it's like if these are like worth thousands of dollars, because like the Yeezys were like worth a couple $100s, and like he was willing to sell them for 25 a pair. So I'm like, maybe these are like worth even more, and he just doesn't give a fuck. So I'm like, I'm gonna at least look them up. So like I looked up the Hokas, and it was like, boom, on eBay for less than he was selling them for. And then looked up another pair, and it was like, boom, exact same price. So for some reason, he was just valuing that shit like way more. They had some Harley jackets and stuff that they were asking like a lot of money on. Um, the lady made a post. I might hit her up because they had a ton more stuff in their thing. So I might try to wheel and deal and see if they have any more T-shirts. Because they were like wanting to get rid of shit, and they had like a bunch of shit in their trailer. So we'll see. But yeah, the guy kept saying like, "Oh, I'm from Manhattan," so like, so yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm from Manhattan, so I know. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, you know what? You know what I mean? He's like, go look at those shoes. He's like, I'm from Manhattan, so I know. I know you can make some money on them. I'm like, okay. And so I just was like, all right. I walked out of there with my $53. So I spent like way less than $100. I spent like $70. I was like, oh, I'm gonna fill my fucking car, and it wasn't like, I mean, I was being kind of selective, but I was also, looking for stuff for like Facebook and looking for stuff for eBay both. And there was just not good shit. It was just like a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of stuff that's just like nobody want, like craft items. A lot of it was like resellers, like because I knew one group of people that were doing it, and I talked to them last time, and they were resellers. So I went there like way later. But yeah, so I think I might just have to do my yard sale next time for the town wide yard sale. I always try to hold off, but I always end up having plenty of stuff because it's like, you know, around that time I've already found a bunch of stuff. Usually, I haven't found any free piles yet. Like normally at this time of the year in spring, I found like two or three solid free piles, and I've yet to find anything. So I am a little bummed about that. But again, it was good to be driving around to yard sales, even though it was a bust. You know what I mean? I still was very pleasant to people, very nice or whatever. I found some video games. I found um, those shoes, and then I'm talking about the what were they called? Like Nike Encores. So they're not like anything crazy, but I'll make a few bucks on them. And it was like uh, very very nice out too. So it was like towards the end of the day, it started getting a little windy. Like I remember I went to that last sale where they had all the T-shirts and shit. Like they had a shitload of T-shirts, but of course, like not one of them on the rack was anything I wanted. So that's when I asked them. And like, yeah. So the only one I bought was the Marvel kit. It's like a X-Men. Um, it's like Xavier Institute T-shirt. So pretty sweet. This is a 2XL too. There was one other one listed for like 110, but that one was a large. So the bigger clothes I typically will list a little bit more, and then drop it down a little bit. So I had somebody buy something. So I sold like it's like a rugby jersey, for 80, and it was like back to. So if you've been on the eBay app or like on eBay at all, you know like that when you send an offer, so they accept it, and the way it used to be was like they had 4 days to pay or not pay, and then it like it gets relisted and they cancels their order or whatever. And so this person bought it, and it's been 4 days, and it just got relisted today. But I haven't seen that in a while, so that's why I'm like tripping about it, because I'm like, what the fuck? Is this shit coming back, or is this just like the last of the holdouts? But then I got another offer. It was a lower offer than I wanted, so I made a counter offer, and they haven't sent anything back. So I'm waiting on that. Maybe it makes them pay automatically if they accept the offer. Um, I don't know how it works. And so, yeah, I'm just I'm hoping it sells. It's like a nice jersey. I got it from the thrift store up the street, and like there was only one that had sold it. It sold for like 110. So I'm hoping mine. For some reason, like I see shit sold for a certain price, and then I put mine up, and it's like, nah, sorry, bro. It's gonna be a few bucks less. But that's because I'm like impatient. You know what I mean? If I really wanted to wait, I could probably wait and get a little bit more. But I'm just trying to sell shit and move on to the next, get cash for the next thing. It's yard sale season, so the next week's always gonna be better than the last. Always. Well, most of the time. Um, yeah. Let me pull this up real quick. Getting into the half hour part of the thing. I did put a lot of different things. I just can't think about them. Got so much shit. Oh, I just thought of a funny story that I figured I'd just bring up. It's because it's the 60th episode, and why not? So it's the story of how I got my weed card in California. It was so we had a roommate at the time who was like, I think wanted to grow weed. So he offered to pay for everybody's weed card, which I was like, fuck. And I wanted to get one anyway. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go get one. So he took me to this place in LA. It was like in the valley somewhere. Can't even remember where it was. And so he like parked the car, and he's like, all right, you run in and I'm just going to go find. He pulled up and dropped me off. And he was like, I'm just going to go find a place to park and then I'll be back. So I go in, or he's like, oh, call me when you're done and I'll come back. I'm just going to go do whatever. So I go in and I'm like waiting, and I'm sitting there, and I sign in, and it's like this dude with like an Eastern European accent. He like walks up to the fucking window, and he like asks me one question or something. I fill out the paper like, why do you need to get this weed card, whatever. And I just had like back pain or knee pain or some shit from playing football. And he came back up to the window, and he was like, I don't want to waste your time. The doctor's not in, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give it to you. And I go, oh, okay. And he just fucking gave me my weed card, like no issues, no nothing, just fucking handed it to me. Um, and again, he was like Eastern European. Um, and it was like, yeah, I couldn't believe it. And then I just had a weed card. And then when I went to get it renewed, I mean, the process for getting it renewed, I think it was a little bit it was even more stringent. I had to like actually see a physician. It was like you know, he did like a physical, which I think was what was supposed to happen at the last place, but that place was just shady as fuck. Like I walked outside after doing it, and I was in there for 2 seconds, and my old roommate who dropped me off was like, "Oh, you're done?" I called him. He was like, "I just fucking left." So he came back and picked me up, and that was it. I just had my weed card. But yeah, the next place I went, they actually had to have me see a physician and like I had to like do a physical to get it. So when I passed, apparently, I'm assuming it's just like anybody gets it. You know, you have to be really stupid to fuck it up because you just kind of got to tell them what you think they want to hear. I guess I don't know, but that was a long time ago. I no longer have it. I just smoke it recreationally, as they say. Sorry, I just yawned. Um, losing my coffee theme. I don't like drinking coffee. Oh yeah, so I went to a yard sale on Friday that was advertised in the newspaper, and I gotta tell you, I know ones in the newspaper are better because there's less people there, but it sucks because half the time the people don't know what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean? Like they couldn't even properly advertise their shit. Um, so like, what are the chances that they're gonna have a good sale? I mean, eventually it's gonna happen. So we get there, and it's like it had been raining all morning, like early morning, like 5 a.m. thunderstorms and shit. And so I get there and I park and like there's nobody there and you can kind of see stuff set out back. And so then this guy pulls in and he like, you know, we end up walking up. This other guy ended up showing up that I know. So we walked up and everything had been left out the night before. He left out like all of his shit. And he had a thing like what is it called? Like a carport tent type thing. So it's like, why didn't you just leave it in there and then just show up early and fucking bring it out? Like, I don't understand people that like you're having a sale in the morning that morning. Like that should just be what you're doing that morning. Like his sale was at I think 9 o'clock, and he didn't get there until like 8:50. It's like, dude, if you're having a sale, you got to get here before. You know what I mean? He showed up and all his shit was wet. Like, dude, what the fuck? He's like, oh, I can't believe it. He said it about 50 times. He's like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's like, well, if you check the fucking weather, you would have been able to even easily see that there was no fucking way that there was going to be rain in the morning. There was no way that there was not going to be rain. Sorry. Um, sorry, my nose gets like stuffed when I sit a certain way, and I don't want to stop and blow my nose. Hold on, I'm going to stop and blow my nose real quick. All right, I'm back. I don't know if it's like because I'm getting older or my nose is just like constantly stuffed up. It's when I sit like and do the podcast too. I don't know what it is. If I'm like doing anything else, it's not happening. I don't understand it. Um. So yeah, let me see. What was I saying? But yeah, I couldn't believe how many times he said I can't believe it. It's like, buddy, you gotta check the fucking weather. Like, I ended up getting like a book of CDs or DVDs and video games. So there was a Wii Sports in there that was in good shape. So I grabbed that, and then I grabbed the fuck else did I get? Oh, there's one other disc that was worth a couple bucks too, and then the rest I just put in a lot. So there's enough to make a little lot of like disc only video games. And I got that and like a little Olympus camera accessory that was like new old stock. I did get a couple things that were fine being left out. You know what I mean? CDs are okay to get wet as long as they don't have the booklet with them. They're fine. So, oh man, my ears need a pop. I put these things on. Hold on. Like creating a bubble. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I had to like yawn to pop my ear. Got the headphones on. It was like creating pressure in my head. I thought my head was gonna pop. I hope I'm not getting sick now. I thought I was gonna avoid it. I'm already coming down with it right now. Maybe that would suck if you heard in real time, like, oh, I'm avoiding it, and it just gets me by the end of the episode. Like, just comes for me. It's like a horror movie. It's like Final Destination or. So anyway, man, yeah, I want to reiterate how much the town-wide yard sale sucked. It was just I did so much driving around. That's the only fucking problem. It was fun, but it was fun. I did have to like, because my confidence was a little shaky as far as like, I talked about the importance of picking the right first stop, and there weren't too many options on this one that were open early, and so I had to make a decision, and I kind of made the wrong decision, or I don't know if you feel like you make the wrong decision, even though there's like multiple ones that you got to get to, and so I I was kind of feeling a little bit like, fuck, man, I need to make a better decision. And so then I put on the baby. So I'm like, oh, dude, this is going to build my confidence. So I was like, mandatory. I put that shit on. And I don't know if it helped. It might have helped. I ended up changing it a little bit later on. I mixed it up a little bit since it's some heavy rock. I still was striking out. So who knows? But I struck out with confidence. And obviously I was enjoying myself. I was having a good time, but it's just every weekend that I don't fill my fucking car with inventory. One week it's gonna be harder in the winter. So I feel like an old timey settler. Like in the winter. Winter is coming. Um Oh yeah, speaking of the baby, when I went to search for DA for I think it was for Daniel Tiger, the baby and Daniel Tiger came up. It's just those are the two things that I listen to. The baby and Daniel Tiger. Um oh yeah, dude, the other day, yesterday, I was driving with my wife and we were like in a neighborhood that was kind of good. And you know how you see some shit sometimes that you're just like you have to do a double take. You're like, did I just see what I thought I saw? Like, it doesn't even register in your brain that that's what you saw because it it's so like out of the ordinary to see it. So it was like one of those situations where we're driving and I look in this car and I see a little boy like with his arm out the window, like he's a dog. Like in my head, I'm just like, oh, that's like the dog's playing. But then I was just like, it took me a second, and then because I was driving too, so then I go, wait a second, that wasn't a dog, that was a little boy. You know what I mean? You have to kind of like put two and two together because it's something I've never seen this in my life, like, in my fucking life. So we this car is driving and this little boy is in the back seat and he's just not in a he was my daughter's age, my oldest, who sits in a I mean they're supposed to be in a car seat until whatever age. Like this kid was way too young to just be in a seatbelt, let alone be unbuckled. This kid was unbuckled, dude, like with his arm hanging out the window, like playing, like. And I said to my wife, I'm like, did you see that? And she's like, what? And then so finally we like pulled up next to them, and she looks, and sure enough, this fucking kid is in the back seat of this car. Just I was like, are we supposed to like call the cops? Like as soon as a cop sees that, I would hope that they would pull that over. But like it was fucking crazy. I was like, dude, I've never seen that before. If just and I've seen a chick at the airport rolling around in roller skates. Like I've seen some crazy shit, and this was one of the craziest. I was like, holy shit, that's so dangerous. And also like, it's illegal, like, and you're doing it during broad daylight. So like if any cop saw you, you would be so fucked. And they probably do it all the time if that's the case, you know what I mean? But I couldn't believe that shit. I was like, holy fuck, dude. I could never imagine doing that. Fucking wild. That shit was wild. That was the craziest thing that happened over the weekend, was seeing that for sure. Um, when we were younger, because there's all those clothes and shoes bins. I thought about getting one, like seeing if I could get one and put it. There's like a property like up at the top of this neighborhood that I live in where there's like, space for stuff. I'm like, I wonder if I could get a clothing donation bin put in there. Um, you know what I mean? Because anybody can get them. I'm pretty sure you can just get a clothing donation bin. And you just put it there. You just gotta get, I guess, approval, and you just put it there. And so I've always thought about that. But when we were kids, and I think we were like probably seventh grade, eighth grade, maybe sixth or seventh, probably younger side, so probably sixth or seventh. And I remember we were like, uh, um, no, so yeah, I remember like one of my friends was like, "Oh, I drove by." I remember he tells this story about how he drove by one of those bins. Like, I drove by the bins, and I forget, like, I think he said the middle part was missing, so it said like close blank, and then it was like blank until hose. So it looked like if you looked quick, it would just say like close for hose. And I remember he told that story. He's like, "Yeah, I thought it said close for hose." And we thought that was the funniest fucking thing in the world. We just like died laughing. We could not stop laughing about it. So it was that was like the height of comedy for me, like seventh grade. But yeah, that, I mean, I feel like anybody can get those, and like you can take some, donate some, and then the rest of it you like. But like, where do you donate the stuff that gets donated to that? It's too much stuff to keep track of with all of this. I don't know what to do. Um, do 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 do. I'm a little bummed because I've been like waiting. I'm gonna be finishing school, like I said, shortly. Not school for good, but I'm gonna be finishing up for like the time being. Um, and so I was looking forward to like getting a game. Obviously, it wasn't gonna be until like later in the year. Um, but then I wanted to like ease into starting Grand Theft Auto, and now they're like, oh, it's gonna be pushed back until fucking 2026. Like, God, fucking damn it! I love those games, but they take so long to make them. It's like, what the fuck, man? Like, what the fuck are you guys doing with your time? Isn't there like AI and fucking technology and shit to make shit go faster? Um, it's crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh yeah. Do 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 do. So I ended up getting out of jury duty. I was pretty pumped about that. When I originally called, because I called at like 3, you get a call after 3 p.m. They'll tell you if it's canceled or not. So I called at 3, and they were like, "Oh, it's a recording came on." I was like, "Got to call back at 4:30 to make sure it's still not confirmed yet. So I was like, fuck, so now I gotta wait, and they close at 4:30. And I had to like change my time if you know if I ended up having to go in, I would need to get it changed. So I tell that to the lady. She's like, "Oh, that's fine. Like, you could still go in and do that, and then you can still get in and do that. Like that's fine." Um, so I was like, "It's fine if I call back at 4:30. Like you're gonna let me, you know what I mean? Because you guys close at 4:30." And she's like, "Well, no, just call back in the morning at 8:30." I was like, "Well, I have to be there at 8 a.m." She's like, "Well, that's fine. You just don't show up. And then you call us that day and you get rescheduled. So you don't." I was like, "So I won't get like penalized for not showing up?" She's like, "No." I was like, "Oh, okay." Then I called finally back at like 4:30. Ended up being canceled. So it was like a whole thing where I was worried about it and it didn't even end up happening. It's fucking awesome story of my life. Worrying about some shit that hasn't happened. So anyway, you look back at this list, 'cause I'm running out of stuff again. It's gonna be nice when I have a little bit more time. Obviously, I'm doing two different classes and shit, and it's obviously, I haven't had too many cool yard sale finds or anything to talk about. We have been rewatching Eastbound and Down, or we did rewatch it, finished it. So it is somebody's coming. I have this fucking TV entertainment system or entertainment center that I got out of the storage unit. Oh yeah, I'll talk about that too. We'll talk about that first before Eastbound and Down. So it had like a 43-inch TV with like an entertainment center, but like everything in that storage unit ended up smelling like smoke. I won the storage unit, like didn't plan on winning it, and then so picked everything up, and it was like mostly like kitchen shit. There was the entertain. It was like absolutely nothing in there valuable that was worth anything. There's tools that I thought were going to be worth something. I still haven't sold them. I've got them up on Marketplace for $100, and I feel like they're going to sell for less than that. That was a fart. Sorry. I did one earlier too, and I just didn't know if it picked it up, so I don't want to address it. But that one definitely got picked up. And then there was a couch, so I've got to deal with the couch. I'm just gonna like take a box cutter to it, cut it all up, the fabric and shit. Take that shit to the dump, and then I am going to hold on a second. So yeah, there really wasn't anything of value in that unit. I only paid like $70 for it, and it took one trip, which was nice. So it was like nice to test out the shag and wagon over there, the utility cart, whatever the fuck it's called. Why can't I think of the trailer? Utility trailer. There we go. So yeah, it was kind of a bust. Kind of a bust. I did find that one tramadol in there, so I did take that, and that was a nice afternoon. Um, so I guess like I got a little bit of money back, whatever. I don't know what the street value of that would be. $8 maybe, $10. Actually, it might have been like $10 bill, 12. I don't know. I have no idea if inflation has affected drug prices or not. I don't buy drugs anymore. I have not bought drugs in a long time. I think I've told the story of the time that I bought drugs the last time. For the last time. Besides like mushrooms and shit. But usually mushrooms are given to me. So I'm like, I think that's, I don't think that constitutes it's illegal when you have them. Because you didn't buy them. They were just given to you. You know what I mean? I don't think that holds up in court, but I bought some Molly from somebody that I worked with. This was like in another state years ago. This is when I had to wear a suit, and so like I bought like an eighth of Molly, and it was just in the back of my trunk. And I drove was driving home and the cop car pulled up next to me. I'm like, oh fuck, and he like goes behind me and puts on the lights. I'm like, oh fuck me. So like, and it was also 420, so I had like a bin of I made these things called firecrackers, which are like weed crackers. So I made a bunch. This is when I worked at a weed, not a weed store. I worked at a cell phone store. It was just like a bunch of degenerates that I worked with. So like I made a bunch of fucking weed crackers. So those, luckily, I put those in my trunk, so like it didn't smell like weed in the car. And so he came up to the car, and like my car was clean. You know, I didn't have kids at the time, so and I wasn't partying in it. My car was clean. It wasn't a mess. I was wearing a suit. And he like walks up to the front of the car and he comes back. He's like, "Oh, just like I thought." He's like, "You put your license plate on the wrong side." And I was like, "Oh, I moved here from out of state however long ago, whatever." And he's like, "Oh yeah, just get it switched and you'll be good to go." He's like, "Have a nice day." I'm like, fucking lets me go. And like didn't even ask for a license, nothing. Just like let me go. Like when you were in a suit, people like just assume you're like it's like powerful, dude. They look at you different. Like when I do go walk around the way I do now, like and just looking like fucking Adam Sandler, looking like a broke Adam Sandler. Um, like yeah, you don't command nearly the same respect, which I'm okay with. You know what I mean? Because it kind of goes to your head a little bit. You're kind of like, oh, well, and you kind of need that ego inflation when you're uh, selling phones. Hold on. All right, breaking news. Sorry, I had to pause the thing. My wife came down for a minute. So these people just came. They were supposed to pick up the TV and the entertainment center. It's on like one of those buy nothing groups. And they left the entertainment center. They just like took the TV off. And so like my wife was like, "Oh," she's like, "Yeah, they left the entertainment center." So I went out there. Of course they're gone. So I just sent a message. I was like, "Hey, I wanted somebody to take the whole thing. Um, Hold on, let me just reply." Sorry. So yeah, I was like polite about it, whatever. But if she was like, "Sorry, we're not fucking coming back for it," I was gonna be like, then I'm gonna report you to the buy nothing group, people, bitch. Because you can do that shit on those buy nothing groups. People like fuck you over like that. Like, you're supposed to take the whole thing. Like, I could have gotten anybody to take the TV. I could have kept the TV. I was trying to get somebody to take the whole fucking thing. That was like the whole point. Um, and like we had a whole conversation about how the thing like disassembles and how you got to take the whole thing, blah blah blah. And she's like, "Oh, sorry, I misunderstood." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, bitch, lying ass bitch." But anyway, so I just like sent her a message. She said she's coming back for it. They're like came from Rhode Island, but I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, take the whole fucking thing. Like, like, that was the whole point. It's like I didn't want this fucking. That's why I was like, she was like, "Oh, we have a truck." It's like, so you clearly didn't misunderstand. We had a whole conversation about it. So they were like probably just gonna try to get away with it. They would have got away with it too. But my wife is like a fucking. My wife's like the whole Scooby Doo gang put together. She just like she's on that shit. She wasn't even supposed to be home today. She was homesick. She was up. She's like in her little perch, like right next to the window. She fucking like is chilling and resting, and she just happened to look outside and see that they left that shit. So, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I'll call you out for it. Like, and I was hoping that like somebody could use it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather somebody use it than like obviously anybody could just come take the fucking TV. Like I wanted somebody that needed both of the things. So it's like take both of the things or don't, but don't fucking like come there and take my goddamn TV. Fuck. Especially when you're on camera. Boom. So I make people pitch things up right under my camera, so they're like, "Oh fuck, I'm on camera, bitch." Um. So yeah, what was I talking about before that? I feel like I was getting into something. Hold on, I was in the middle of something. Oh, I think was it just jury duty? Said I got off jury duty. My wife, shocked that they're back. I'm like, yeah, I fucking told them to come back. She's like, what did you say? Like, I told them to return the TV or fucking come back and take the fucking thing. What do you mean? You know what I mean? I was nice about it. And I was like, sorry, my wife really wants it gone. That's all you got to say is just blame it on your wife. Like, hey, sorry, you know, my hands are tied. I'm just going by what the boss lady wants. But yeah, man, I'm still flabbergasted at that kid that was unbuckled in the car. It's so crazy. Like, I know we used to sit like in the back and shit, and like, you know, it's not as crazy. Like 20 years ago, it would have been like anything, but it's just wild. I've never seen that driving around. Like a 4-year-old just fucking in the back seat, just bouncing around. It's like, oh my god. Um, yeah, summer's fucking coming. We've booked our summer vacations, so we're doing camping. We go up to Maine, and that's gonna be fun. We're actually going in the summer to Maine this time. We usually go like early summer. We're going like middle of summer, so it's gonna be fucking hot. I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. My favorite part of the beach, and this is not like in a shitty way. It's not like, oh, I fucking hate the beach. Like, I don't mind the beach. I'm not like, I don't like the ocean, but I don't mind the beach. And I don't really like bringing kids to the beach. It's not relaxing. If you have kids and you go to the beach, it's not like a chill. It's not like, hey, we're gonna fucking hang out and like chill. It's like, um, we're gonna fucking, you know, we've got to chase these fucking kids, make sure they don't get pulled out by a riptide, make sure, you know, they don't get lost, make sure they don't get separated, make sure that they don't get taken by a seagull, like all types of shit, you know, whatever the fuck can happen. So like, you know, it is exhausting, but it's obviously it's fun. You know, you run around with your kids, you play. As long as you're doing shit like that, it's not like, you know, it's just as they get older, it's a little bit. I feel like it's a little bit worse when they get older because they want more independence. And it's like, all right, well, you know, you can't be right there with them swimming. And if something happens like this, you know, that fucking Peyton Hillis situation where he had to run in and save his fucking kids. That guy's like a big fucking athlete. Like, I don't know if I'm that good of a swimmer. But anyway, yeah, it's a lot of work and like it's stressful and like, but it's obviously fun. But like the best part is like leaving because, you know, you're just like, all right, you're like, it's de stressed. Now I can fucking, um, you know, now I can, sorry, I just, lady was like messaging me. Um, so yeah. Um, so then it's like you just are, you, it's right when you leave, you're like, fuck, you know, you know, you're about to go get a beer at dinner. I found that I enjoy like one beer way more than 10 these days. Like one or two is for like three at the most. Like three and I'm having a good time. Um, but when I have more than that, it's just oh, it's terrible. But yeah, you know, you leave the beach and you're like, you know, you're about to go get a beer and like food, and then you also are like a little bit tired from being in the sun. You're like a little bit sunburned. Like half the time, like I like going back because you get like a cottage. Like we got a cottage this year. We used to spend money on like an Airbnb. That's like, I mean, this is an Airbnb, but it's like a little mini, like not mini, but like a small cottage. You know what I mean? It's big enough for you don't have to like worry about the kids fucking shit up, and it's like specifically for rentals, not like a family house or anything like that. And then there's usually like a pool, and it's you know close to shit. Like we were gonna do right down by the water, but it's like you're right there, and there's people walking by the windows, and I was like, I don't want to fucking do that, especially at like night. If there's people walking by and are loud, and so. But yeah, you go back to the cottage and you fucking take a shower, and then you know you go and you have your your food and your beer and shit after the beach. Maybe some ice cream. So excited. Very excited. My kids are like 4 and 2. So my youngest has been, I mean, my youngest was like 1 when she went to Maine. So 1 and like, I think that's the only time she's been, was when she was, or maybe she's been 2 years. Yeah, I think she's been 2 years. So this will be her 3rd year. Or am I right? No, I can't remember. Maybe it's her 2nd year. Who knows? Um, but yeah, we try to go every year. It's a good time. And also there's a bunch of places to do like yard sales and shit. So I'm excited to like, I'm so pumped to do yard sales. So we weren't there. The first time we went there, we went in the middle of the summer, and I made out like a fucking bandit with yard sales. So I'm hoping the last 2 years were kind of, because last year we went and it was supposed to rain. Went one year to like, and they had like an estate sale. Nobody showed up to this estate sale, and they had a bunch of these like Barbie dolls. So I looked up a few of them, and there was like a share one, and that one sold for like $100 right away. Um, so I'm hoping that we do well again. I mean, obviously that's a ways away, so I'll still be keeping in touch. Um, but anyway, yeah, that's a podcast. That's 1 hour. It stretched. I thought it was going to be 45 minutes, but got a second wind. I thought I was going to have a confrontation with those people. That was a little live drama, right? Fucking on the podcast. Fucking live update. Breaking news. But yeah, subscribe to the podcast. This is the 60th episode, so I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna try to get a guest like for the 100th episode, but I mean we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. It's still 40 more episodes. That's probably at my pace probably like another year. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, keep listening and tell your friends, and I'll talk to you next time.